Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of JeremyCraft. We're starting off today's episode in front of the house that we were working on in the last episode. Now I've got some good news, hopefully you've noticed already, but my mic should be sounding much better. I recently got a new microphone, so hopefully from now on the recordings will sound just a little bit nicer, a little bit less tin can-esque. But we're starting here at the house because I want to try laying out the foundations for some ideas I had on how to improve the deck area. But we've got a couple different things I want to work on in this episode. I want to try getting some of the interiors of the house laid out, even if it's just some walls and some staircases. We're obviously not going to finish all the detailing because we don't have a lot of resources at the moment. And the other main thing that I want to work on is the storage system, which is going to be going somewhere up there, or down here. I haven't quite decided yet. Probably somewhere up on the hill. I think that would look really nice, especially since later on we're going to have some sort of structure on this island, and it would be great if we could connect the two with some sort of bridge. I don't know in what order we're going to tackle today's projects, but let's get started. Alright, we've made some progress on the dock section. I'm not quite done working on this area here, obviously. There's a lot to be done, but I think I'm going to stop working on it just for now because I want to give myself some time to come up with some more ideas on how to really make sure this area looks good. This is the idea I had in mind. I'll just show you from the water. This stone and wood section are going to go all the way down a little bit farther, especially in like this section where it doesn't go all the way, just to really reinforce that this is like a retaining wall and sort of a dock section. And I'm going to have some docks coming off of this section. So either like straight out from here or straight out from there, off the top of this pier. And then in the middle here, we're going to have some unloading stuff, some crates, barrels full of water, stuff like that, just to fill it with some interesting stuff. And then we're going to have two small retaining walls here and here with some sort of staircase heading up. I don't really know how that's going to work. This one probably won't have a staircase. Maybe we'll just move this staircase across and have this more of as a flat second layer. I haven't quite decided. That's the kind of stuff I want to decide before I commit to building anymore. I really want to get the vision of this area down in my brain before I, build a bunch of stuff and have to tear it down later. Another thing too, every time I walk over the eggs for these chickens, like this one, I pick them up and I throw them down, and we've just got a ridiculous amount of chickens on this island at this point. I'm going to keep doing this for basically the entire season, I think, and we'll just see how many chickens we can accumulate in our home. Alright, so we just finished working on the deck. The next thing I want to tackle for now, before we get cracking on the rest of the dock section, is I really want to commit to building at least the starting structure for the storage system that we're going to be using. But before we can build the storage system, we're going to have to flatten this area off to my right here. This section here is going to be flattened down to about the height of here, so we'll knock all this section out and be down at this height. I think that's a pretty decent height. It gives us enough room once this is flat to build the storage system comfortably, while remaining high enough that when we build the bridge across, we'll be building it to sort of higher up on the tower. I don't want to go right to the bottom floor, I don't think. Okay, I just headed over to the island, and actually I am going to change my mind. I think the best thing to do here visually, and I'm actually much happier about this, is to connect the top of this section with what will be the top of this section, so the two landmasses will be at the same height, making a bridge across there look very natural. So the base of the tower we're going to be building here and the base of where the storage system sits will be at the same height, meaning this area will look very connected. I'm going to get started on that. I'm going to time-lapse it for you guys, and I'll be back when I'm done. Alrighty, out of that time lapse, you guys can see we flattened this area just to the height of, it's actually not to the height of that part, it's the height of the block below it, because that top section's pretty thin, and I want to flatten it out so we can get a wider base there. We'll probably end up extending this hill just a little bit near the top to make a better seating for the tower. So it's at that height, it's at 72, I believe. And now we can get to work on building up the structure, or at least getting the plan for where it's going to be. It's not going to be a huge structure, it's going to be a sort of squarish building right here, just on the back. Although now that I think about it, maybe I want to turn it the other way so the bridge isn't obstructed, or move it forward or back. I'm gonna have a think about that. When I get back, I'll have at least the posts marking off where it's gonna be so you guys can see. And I'll catch you in a minute. Alrighty, so we've got the plan for the building's foundation now. This cobblestone here sort of represents the natural kind of curving path, the dirt path that's going to be leading in front of the storage system and onto what is going to be the bridge that connects these two islands. The bridge style that I'm sort of envisioning in my mind is sort of like a slightly sloped, kind of like saggy sort of rope bridge with some structures underneath on either end to sort of look like it's supported. The size was kind of perfect for this section. I want it to be facing open towards my house so that when I'm in my house I can see the front of the building. So I had to kind of curve this road around the front instead of having it right here. But I'm going to get on to finishing the rest of the storage system, and when I come back, it should be fully done. Alrighty, and we're done. Well, sort of done. We're done the major structure of the building. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do in terms of like this section right here is going to be varied, natural looking ground, and there's going to be a pathway that comes in front, and small little details like that along the outside of the building. I'm going to vary up the wall here with little bits of stair and slab to make it look kind of like old and worn down. Haven't done all that stuff yet. Gonna keep working on this building a little bit at a time in terms of those details, but it's a functional storage system at the moment, which is what I really wanted. I wanted to get somewhere where we could put all our items instead of having them scattered all over the place. We had a chest over there and a chest underground and chest over here, and it was just getting a little bit too much to try and keep track of where all the items were. So now everything can be consolidated. The one issue we have though is I'm not killing animals, and that means I don't have access to item frames, which is what I like to use to sort out the chests and what goes in them and keep track of where everything is, but it's going to be kind of tough to get it. You might have noticed this little structure here. That was for me when I was fishing earlier. I realized that you can get leather from fishing, so for the next little while, just either between episodes or maybe even at the beginning of every episode, I'll just start fishing for a while until we can get a better fishing rod and some better loot, and hopefully eventually down the line enough leather to supply us with the necessary components for making enough item frames for this section. It's going to be quite a bit of leather. I'll do the calculations and figure out whether that's reasonable or not, and if not, we'll maybe have to figure out something else, but at the moment that's sort of the plan, and hopefully we can get all that in a reasonable amount of time. I just had another thought. Before we go and head over to the house to work on the interiors, I think I'm going to do some organization on these chests. We don't have item frames yet, obviously, because we don't have the leather for it, but I think we can get started by using some signs, just so we can get the basic layout of where the chests are going to go. That way we can get started early on organizing our items and figuring out where everything's going to go, just because right now all of our items are just dumped into these last chests here, and I want to be able to tell where everything is. So I'm going to do that really quickly. Alright, so we finally got everything finished off. I did a little time-lapse there so you guys could see the process of me organizing all my items. There weren't a ton to organize, since we're still pretty fresh into this, but the one downside of using signs I realized is that I can't put signs adjacent to other signs, so these corner sort of sections here had to be left blank. These are just the terracotta, and this one down here is going to be mob heads. This one up here is the lighting one, and down here is the miscellaneous block one. This is miscellaneous stone, so like andesite, diorite, and granite, but this one down here will be like sandstone and prismarine or anything like that that doesn't fit into one of the other categories. But yeah, so everything's sorted now. I finally have everything organized, which makes me feel much better about keeping track of all our items, so we're going to head off and get to work on the interior over there. Alright, now that's done, it's time to finally get started on the interior of this house. I still have no idea where I'm going to put all the individual rooms, or how the interior is going to sort of be structured, but let's get started and see what we can come up with. Alright, so we've just got some more work done on the interiors. We're nowhere near finished, but we did get some of the base stuff laid out. We've got the floor, which I've used birch for, just to differentiate it from the walls so the entire building isn't just dark brown. We have a couple carpets here, which I'm going to use to hide light sources, and then the missing spots I'm going to have lanterns hanging down. We got this nice fireplace in this little seating area. I don't know what I'm going to use this section for yet. That's why I've just laid the carpet and sort of left it open for now. I'll wait for some inspiration there. A little area for a desk, and then this section right here, I'm going to close this off and make this the new doorway. And this will be sort of like a kitchen area that will look out onto the ocean from two different directions. Up here is going to be a little loft where the bedroom stuff will be. I haven't quite decided how this is going to work. I might close this section off entirely with a wall and have sort of an internal room with like a closet. Maybe make a custom bed instead of a Minecraft bed so it can fit this sort of like 3 wide space here. I haven't quite decided. This sort of nitty-gritty detail stuff is going to be stuff we kind of work on as the series goes on. Obviously, since we're pretty early on, we don't have access to a lot of materials. So working on this like extra fine detail stuff is going to just come with time. So for now, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out, and we're gonna end this episode right here. I think we got quite a bit done. We got the storage system worked on, the dock worked on, got a lot of progress done, and I'm pretty happy with where we are in episode 3. So I'm gonna finish it right here, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions for things we should build on the island, please feel free to comment. But that aside, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.